is WeatherScope.
Good Saturday morning. Thanks for joining us. This is Marshall Cease, and I'm Marnie Stanier, and we're so glad that you've joined us at this early hour.
It is early, man. Go back to bed if you're up, unless you've got to get someplace.
Yeah.
Winter is here.
I know. It's very, very cold over a good part of the country, and we're going to talk more about the current temperatures and why it's so cold out there. And we're going to have some live shots later on this morning. We're going to go live to Buffalo. We've got Bill Keneally there.
That's right. We've got some very heavy quarter-of-a-mile visibility kind of snow in Buffalo, with just a heavy snow belt, or a heavy snow squall coming off of Lake Erie. So all that for you. Stay tuned to the Weather Channel. If you are up, go get another cup of coffee and we'll detail it for you. Let's start out with that water vapor imagery this morning, which we don't have. This is going to be a satellite picture instead. You can see that cold air that has swept through the Central Plains right down to the Gulf Coast. A lot of moisture, some snow in Norfolk, Virginia, northward into Bridgeport, Connecticut this morning. We've got wind chills to the north in the 50 to 60 degree below zero category. An impulse dropping through Idaho that's going to set up out here in Nevada. It's going to cut itself off from the system. That's going to be the weather maker in a couple of days. The snow that you saw in Atlanta, Birmingham, Huntsville, that is now over in Virginia and in North Carolina this morning. Miami, you've got some light rain right now too, as that front has moved all the way down to the coast almost. It's over the northern portion of Florida, but you've got this southwest flow right across the southern tip over by the Florida Straits. A little bit of light rain for you this morning. Just cold air, brutally cold, some upslope snows out in the Intermountain region. It's 57 right now, Panama City, front not quite through there. This is, take these temperatures just with a little grain of salt. Overnight, these are about 2 hours old, but it'll give you a dramatic idea of how cold it is throughout the country. 23 in Atlanta just a couple of hours ago, and the wind chill at 0. And it's not going to get any better here. Little Rock was reporting a wind chill a couple hours ago of 11 degrees below 0, and get some brisk winds behind that front as it continues its movement to the south. Low pressure to the north. That impulse is going to move right across Connecticut today. Snow in eastern Pennsylvania. It's snowing at Teterboro right now with about a half a mile visibility. Snow squalls very heavy up around Buffalo right now. Winds out of the southwest, 23 miles an hour, gusting to more than 30. That means a strong or a very low wind chill as well. Also off of Lake Ontario, snow squalls, and there's winter storm advisories for this area, especially in those snowbelt locations, and wind chill advisories throughout much of the northeast. Burlington's 24, 17 is Albany, 11 Pittsburgh, just a couple of hours ago. Not a lot of change either. The temperatures could be just a couple of degrees colder. There's a wind chill advisory for West Virginia and the Cumberland Plateau this morning. It's snowing from Richmond north through Baltimore and Washington, D.C., right into Bridgeport, Connecticut this morning. This is a Doppler radar out of Buffalo, New York. Shows you that southwest fetch off of Lake Ontario, bringing heavy snow to Buffalo right now, where we have a crew, Bill Keneally, up there, and we're going to be talking with him at 7 o'clock. So make sure you check in for that. Snow squalls off of Lake Superior have brought heavy snow to the UP of Michigan. Marquette has had 17 inches over the last couple of days, and the town of Herman in the UP has gotten 24 inches over the last several days, and just yesterday got as much as a foot of new snow. Snowing across Traverse County, also down around Grand Rapids and Battle Creek with the winds out of the northwest. This pressure gradient is still very tightly packed. We've got a big low pressure to the east, big high pressure to the west, and between those very strong winds, that means blowing snow will be a problem for travelers in the Dakotas and Minnesota today. Temperatures just several hours ago, 4 below at Minneapolis, Sioux Falls, 14 below. What do you see this wind chill? 56 below at Bismarck, 55 below at Fargo. This is one of those times you don't want to get caught out in the car. Make sure you've got plenty of gas and the emergency kit. Out west, fog in the valley areas of the San Joaquin, Sacramento Valley is the major problem, and temperatures moderate right along the coast. There's your current map. Take a look at the forecast. Here's Marnie.
Thanks, Marshall. Those wind chills are amazing. 75 and almost 80 below. Unbelievable. All right, let's check it out. Will it ever start to moderate there? It doesn't look like it's going to anytime soon. Yeah, you know it's cold when that system clears through and the Arctic air heads on down. Precipitation chances. Well, of course, a lot of this most of this is in the form of snow. The only location this morning with any rain is Miami, and then a few sprinkles now around Norfolk. That's it. Most locations are talking snow out there because it's so cold. Locally, a foot of snow with those lake effect bands. So upper Michigan, lower Michigan over to Buffalo, a foot of snow possible. And then again here in the mountains too, a foot of snow, very, very possible. High temperatures. No, these are not the lows. These are not the wind chills. 20 below for a high today in Montana and North Dakota. It's going to be downright cold. And this is where the wind chills are currently almost 80 below. So just a brutal day. Then tomorrow morning, overnight lows 30 below, highs 10 below tomorrow. So cold. Of snow from Oklahoma all the way through Missouri and to Indiana and Illinois. And look right here, we've had an awful lot of snow over southwest lower Michigan. That's because the trajectory has just been perfect to produce snow there. They tend to get a lot of heavy snow. So that's where they've had some snow. Where will we see snow? It does look like through midnight tonight, locally a front moving across Florida. That's producing some light rain around Miami. That's the only location this morning with rain. That's it. Everybody else has snow, cold air, you name it. This is all snow. This is very, very cold air. Wind chills to 75 and 80 below across parts of the Dakotas. It's snowing in lower Michigan. It's snowing over New York City. And we have reports of snow, low visibilities. The southwest trajectory is taking place right now. Eventually, though, it will shift more to the west, and we'll get more of a fetch from the west. So not as heavy as far as the snow goes. We do have snow now in New York City around JFK Airport. No reports of snow currently in Boston, but it's just to your southwest. The snow extends down through Baltimore, and you had snow earlier in Richmond. That's cleared out. Norfolk, you have rain. You're at 33 degrees, so you're very, very close to that freezing mark. We move to one more radar site, and we show you again Norfolk, just some light rain. You may see a quick changeover before the system moves through, but it will not add up to much. Hatteras, the rain just to your west currently. So that's it. That's what we have going on across the Check out these current temperatures. The sub-zero readings to the north and sub-zero wind chills, too, down to 30 below right now. Wind chills 50, 60, 70 below. Not out of the question. Minot is one of our coldest locations. That is just amazing. Do not travel in this kind of weather. It can be very, very hazardous, certainly if you are stranded on the roadways with those strong winds blowing and those wind chills down to 70 below. Again, snow expected with this system. Another weaker system moving up the coast. That's the one producing the snow around New York City. Eventually Boston, you'll see some light snow. And again, the heaviest snow, western New York State and over lower Michigan. Current temperatures here anywhere from 31 in Boston to 7 in Pittsburgh. This is where the Arctic air is. 28 in New York City. You know, it's actually warmer in New York City than it is in Atlanta, Georgia. Can you believe it? 17 outside for a wind chill in, around JFK, 2 below in Saginaw. Current wind chills in the south, 0 is how it feels outside at Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport. 1 above in the Big D. Current temperatures, night air. Here again is where we have snow, blowing snow, reduced visibilities. It is a mess. The big question is, how long is all this going to last? Here's Marshall with the latest.
Looks like it's going to last for a little while. I'll take you into the forecast, show you the developments out west. See that low that's hanging out over the Intermountain region of the west? Well, this impulse over time is against snow. This is the situation this morning as it was yesterday. We have a major low pressure system that's hanging out over eastern Canada. We also have high pressure hanging out over western Canada, and that high is coming to the south. That's what you felt last night as that Arctic air moved through as far south as Atlanta, Georgia, and Birmingham. But also wrapping around that low pressure are winds across the lakes, Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, Ontario, and Huron, and we get very heavy snow along the lee side of those lakes. The southern side of Lake Superior, heavy snow is falling right now around Hancock, Michigan. In Herman, Michigan, which is in the upper peninsula, they got 12 inches of snow in just 12 hours period of time yesterday, and they've had 2 feet of snow over the last 2.5 days. Snowing very heavily down along the east shores of Lake Michigan, also southward around Grand Rapids, Battle Creek, Michigan, also pretty heavily up in the northern portions of lower Michigan. Now out in the lake belt or the snow belt locations of New York State, we also have some very heavy snow falling around Buffalo, New York. Winds at 220 degrees or almost out of the west. They're actually out of the southwest right now, and some heavy snow squalls there. And you're going to see it firsthand in about an hour. Bill Keneally is there, and he is experiencing that lake effect situation. Also some heavy lake effect snows even further to the south around Erie County in western New York State. Let's show you that snow history now where the heaviest snow has fallen. We're going to watch heavy snow once again along the snow belt locations. But look at this swath. Since Wednesday morning, as that Arctic air pumped to the south and the impulses rotated around it, it brought 6 to 12 inches of snow right through the boot heel of Missouri and then southwestward through northern Oklahoma. Very heavy snow up around Grand Rapids and Battle Creek and almost down into the Gary and Hammond area, which also gets some pretty heavy snows from these snowbelt situations. To the north, we had some heavy snow up in northern New England also. And then right along the spine of the Appalachians, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snow. Locally, we expect another foot of snow in those possibility of a foot of snow. The low pressure is right over New Jersey right now. Newark was reporting heavy snow just a few hours ago. Bridgeport, Connecticut's getting some heavy snow right now. It's snowing in Ohio and Pennsylvania as all that Arctic air is wrapping around that big low up in Canada. It's 8 degrees in Erie, 7 in Pittsburgh. Wind chill advisories have been issued for western Pennsylvania down through West Virginia. Look at Cincinnati this morning, 1 below.